Good evening. We start in Italia.
Sure.
Allora, ci troviamo a Venezia, siamo a Calzanardi, che è una dimora storica del Cinquecento, e siamo qui per parlare di un progetto del tutto singolare che si chiama GAP. Qui con me c'è l'artista Carl Heyward, che arriva da San Francisco, e alla mia destra c'è un laboratorio molto grande dove dal 5 di luglio stanno lavorando insieme 5 artisti provenienti da 5 paesi differenti. Ora chiediamo a Carla direttamente che cosa è GAP e magari riuscirà a spiegarci qual è il progetto, come andrà evolvendosi anche nei prossimi anni. So Carla, I'd like to know what is exactly GAP and
exactly
which is your idea, and what it will become in the next few years.
Wonderful idea. Thank you, Monica. This gives me an opportunity to really think about what the concept is, what it is as an idea, and then what it is and has become as a reality. Even if we're talking about what the history of the chronology of this is, GAP is an idea that artists can control their destiny. It's an idea that artists are important in the process of not just creating the work, but also putting that work in front of a public, and equally as important, the concept that if you have abilities, that you have responsibilities, and those responsibilities are to the community of artists, and also the community that consists of the public. And how we serve that, at least the idea is through workshops, through education, through videos like this, where artists are not to be pitied because in most cultures, Western cultures anyway, across the world, everywhere you go, there is visual input on the internet, on television, on radio, on TV, on walls. You can go to see bad art in motels. But the point of it is that we live in a culture that supposedly values the visual presence, but it doesn't value it in a way that the artist benefits, who is the person responsible for its production. Now, that's kind of like a long philosophical roundabout way of saying, as artists, we don't go do our job in a 9-to-5 way. We are people who have made choices to follow both inspiration, creativity, and by doing that we also deserve to realize a living through our efforts.
So you are here from the beginning of July,
yes,
and the exhibition will end just in 2 days.
That is correct.
So you live here with all the other artists.
Yeah.
And GAP is like, you told me that is collaborative.
Yes.
Workshop.
Yes.
So you made some bits with other artists.
Exactly.
And why did you choose this city?
That's a great one. I'll be completely honest with you. I had the experience, and you were involved heavily about a year ago, more than a year ago, in April of 2013. I had the pleasure in 2 locations in southern Italy, Lecce, the primary space, to both live. We have exhibitions in Scaramuzza, and then in Sede Septica at the Garage 21, Uccioli Biondi space, to exhibit in solo shows my bust portrait series, photographs caught or taken in San Francisco, and then my mixed media work at Scaramuzza in Lecce. My experience was so profound on many levels. First, to have my work well received by a public, even in a country so full of antiquities and history, that for contemporary art there seemed to be a real hunger for mixed media work particularly, but for demonstrations of how this work is produced. And it seemed to give students from the Bell'Arte Academy in Lecce, but through several other lectures and workshops and visitors to both galleries, it seemed to give them a certain satisfaction that someone from the outside of Italy, perhaps African American, perhaps American, perhaps just the fact that I'm a mixed media artist, it seemed to give them satisfied parts of their curiosity that was very stimulating to me. In a series of workshops, my experience was such that the people, the food, the art, I decided I wanted to come back to Italy. That's that. I believe as a mixed media artist who focuses on collage primarily, but anything at hand that is a reflection of my economics. I work in San Francisco in a studio that's actually a garage. So instead of having a car, I have my easels and paints and I work in there, and it's really rare real estate. The point I'm making is that I'm able to begin in that kind of environment and take it outside. I've been fortunate in gallery shows, one-man shows, shows in museums, etc. So I do show my work. What the component that for me was missing was that sense of community. I am somebody who I really appreciate my privacy, I appreciate my solitude, but I kind of call myself a social hermit, meaning that on one hand I can be very social and articulate, hopefully, like in a case like this, but if I had my preferences, I would just stay in my studio. To be realistic, what informs my work is interaction with other people. And one of the ways that I stay stimulated is through collaborative work. I've had several projects. You're aware of the Knee-Jerk project that's gone on for about 4 years now, where we send fragments, literally bits off the floor of the studio, rejected painting pieces, and we create new pieces and then send them to other artists. And we're working toward some exhibitions of that. But fragmentation is the idea, collage is the idea, mixed media is the idea. I feel that all experience is collage, because our conceptions about what reality is really based on me talking to you, me understanding or thinking I understand what you're about, my perception of going to the store in the morning, going to the university, going to work. That is actually a perceptual collage. And once I got that idea in mind, including that all history is a collage, the cumulative or collective events of our culture all make our understanding of what reality is. And to me, that's another, in a broader sense, consistent with the idea that everything is collage. So
you found this material here in Venice, and you can have some new idea from the place where you are.
Exactly.
So Venice become like a big shop.
It becomes, you know what, exactly. My art store is the sidewalk, my art store is the street, it's the what do you call it, the graffiti on the walls, it's also the billboards that I tear and peel. Lorna, one of the Gap artists from Australia, likes to call them going for a walk to get billboard peels. And again, these are fragments of our experience, just like, in memory you see something, you think about it, you process it. We are consciously going out and kind of collecting, not nostalgia, because we're not longing for the past, but just artifacts, bits and pieces that establish what our experience is and what reality is. You had said that Venice, or any city, any place, any location, is a big art shop. What it is a laboratory. And Akiko Suzuki, our Japanese representative or member of GAP, which stands for Global Art Project, by the way, took some of the colorful droppings from the walls of bricks and used it as the basis for color and did a dye job on just cotton batting. And so this is her gesture to pay homage to the experience of being in Venice. Similarly in Lecce, or in the south, because of the Lecce, a stone that's very beautiful but very delicate about the color of this chair, we're able to also do the same thing. So it's a respectful approach to the environment that we're in, trying to add something to it and also incorporate it. It's like almost an instant processing. It's really being consciously aware that every encounter, or many encounters, every environment lends something very specific and unique. And we want to incorporate this not just into our individual work, but the work in this case of Vera Gersten from Israel, but Joan Stenig, who couldn't make it in the United States, my partner, myself from San Francisco, Akiko Suzuki from Osaka, Japan, Lara Oh from Seoul, Korea, and Lorna Crane from New South Wales. We kind of collectively work like musicians in a jam session. One makes a move or a gesture, someone else responds to it, and by the end of the evening, with multiple tunes going on, or multiple canvases or multiple pieces of paper going on, we're able to kind of see what we as a collective group feel about a particular moment in time. And all of these, it's not about it being good or bad. Of course, we hope to create good works, but it is the process that creates the success, the fact that we make the effort to do that.
So in this process, how much is important the place where you come from? It's like because you are five, but everyone comes from different place. And the fact to be here and to have a long journey to arrive here. So the point is Venice, but you come from.
Exactly. That's interesting to kind of work backwards. Venice happened with the desire, let's go back to Italy and let's at least get a chance to see Lecce. Lecce is kind of the crown, or the jewel in the crown for us to have been able to return to Lecce, for me anyway, and experience that city. So everything else on a certain level was a means to get to Italy, to get to Lecce. We tried to get situations in Rome and Milan, Bologna, etc. And in one place we had the gallery, in another place we had a place to live but didn't have the gallery. And we couldn't make the connection until at one point in the course of about a year and beginning the process, getting these folks involved and interested, we were able at Cardinardi to find not only an affordable and palatial space to live, an incredible 15th century castle, but we are also given the gallery for free. And in principle, we don't want to have a show that we are paying for. It's like a vanity show. We're not about that. So serendipitously, which is very important in our process, the idea of serendipity, with things happening at the right time, we took advantage of the opportunity to come to one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Venice. And then again, as I say, we were able to spend too short a time, but a sweet time in Lecce. So it was win-win.
And I'm very proud that you chose Lecce like the first city to have your solo exhibition. And we will be again there with that exhibition. We'll have some little show, solo show all together, and to let people that you last year see again the process and the new idea you had. And you know that Lecce, because the finger maybe will be the capital of culture in 2019.
This is what I understand. It's an ambitious goal, but it's not an impossible one.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
What a great idea that a city decides this is what we want to be. We want to be the cultural center of the world by 2019. That's a great idea.
And it can be a dream that comes true.
Of course.
And in that case, you are the proof that can be possible.
I think so.
Because the power of this project, I think, that is the fact that we are all together in a space that is neutral.
That is exactly, I neglected to even mention that. That's also interesting, is that, you know what, I could have said, let's do it in the United States, or let's do da-da-da. The fact that we did it in a place that some of us had been before, a couple of us had never been to Italy before. The fact that, which is really incredible, is that we've never met each other before July the 1st, 2014, which means 3.5 weeks ago was the first time I would known Lorna in Australia as a collaborator, but electronic collaborator through Facebook, where we all met for almost 4 years. And I think my most recent friend, if you will, has been Laura, who just walked by. And maybe that's 2 years. But the point of it is that we have developed a rapport with other artist friends, etc., that's very unique. Each artist works in a very unique style, but the common denominator is that mixed media element and the idea that collage is involved. Some are more painterly. Lorna's background is as a map maker, so she both uses and breaks out of the grid. My background is in media and in photography primarily, and printmaking, but I found that mixed media, using the materials available both philosophically and aesthetically, works for me. I like to start with almost nothing and see what I can develop. Laura, South Korea works kind of similarly. Hers is a little more ornamented, and she uses a lot of fabric and exotic papers in her work. Akiko is just our genius of the group, in my opinion, who uses contemporary quilt making, which was introduced in Japan only in the 1970s. There was no history of the kind of work that she does. The idea of a quilt did not exist in Japan, and that she's just taken this with things and materials like antique kimonos, apparently something that is a big commodity, highly valued, geisha underwear, and regular cotton and interesting threads, and made something extremely unique that comes out of her feeling. Hers is completely an emotional response to both the materials and whatever on an interior level is going on with her. And equally as important in my mind, I think that everyone involved in GAP, in their own right, an incredible artist, is Berit Gerstenkorn from Tel Aviv. She is a self-taught artist, and in a certain respect, anyone is, but she doesn't have the academic background. And that is meaningless. I mean, they call this work folk art, naive art, art brut, whatever. It's just a label, because her sensibility is such, and her vision is such, that Dubuffet comes to mind, Basquiat comes to mind, Grandma Moses comes to mind. But what really comes to mind when I see Vera's work, which again relies or uses as a point of departure, both painterly style and collage, mixed media, is something beyond description. And I know in this videotape, the viewers will have a chance to look at not only her work but others. As important as anything else is that we had a sense that we were compatible. We didn't necessarily say that. A lot of these things are serendipitous. It wasn't the idea that we have to be someplace that no one lives, a neutral territory. That just sort of happened. But everyone has been so supportive. We've had zero personality conflicts at all. And I mean, something just because we're human beings, one would anticipate and understand, but we've not had that. We've had nothing but support with each other. We've had nothing but the desire to make this a success. And success means, yes, we sold some work, that's great, of course, but that wasn't the real point of it. That didn't define whether this was successful. What was successful was as soon as everyone said yes, that made GAP a success. And everything else has just been an incredible gift, for which I have a lot of gratitude. We want to process what this project has been, both as far as documentation goes. Even today, what we're doing is going through some of the materials that we have made as individual artists, workshop materials, and we have probably 20, 25 people in workshop. Actually, maybe up to 40, because in Treviso, we had a workshop with 15 people in their art in the Rotunda a couple of weeks ago. We also are taking part in the third Lecce Biennale, which comes down in September, middle of the month this year.
So, see you again in Lecce.
You also again in Lecce.
So we were able to see everybody.
Sounds perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.